One of the biggest unmet needs in grief seems to be community and belonging. I've heard from so many people living through loss recently, and I'm living this too, where they'd say that nobody wants to talk about their spouse anymore, or the invitations have stopped to outings or get-togethers, or I don't fit in with couples. I don't want to burden people. I don't know who I am socially anymore. These aren't necessarily just grief problems, they're community problems. The reality is that most family and friends do care, but often they just don't know what to say, or they're afraid of making you cry, saying the wrong thing. They assume that we need space, so they don't want to bother us, or gradually they just return to their own lives. But meanwhile, the grieving person often doesn't have the energy to reach out, feels forgotten, might interpret the silence as complete rejection, or they do get messages from friends that sit unresponded, and then the friends feel rejected, and then we tend to withdraw even more. It's a painful cycle. So where do people actually find support? From what I've seen, it tends to come from a variety of places. There's like 5 different things. Maybe there's more, I'm sure there is. But one is other widowed people. That's probably the biggest one, whether it's through Facebook groups, Instagram groups, whatever type of groups, local bereavement groups, online communities, or other like organizations for widowed people. There's a level of understanding that doesn't need explaining. Second would be, 1 or 2 or just a select group of close friends, kind of your safety group. Not a huge amount of people, but many people that are in grief, they realize that they don't need a large circle of friends. They just need 1 or 2 who can sit with them without trying to fix them, and really just show up and be there. Third thing is kind of purposeful connections, we'll call it. Volunteering, mentoring, faith communities, getting involved in hobbies, walking groups, or creating something that's meaningful, not because it removes grief, but because it reconnects them with other people in a meaningful way. A fourth way would be professional support. I've talked about this before. Grief counselors, support groups that can be really valuable, especially when someone feels isolated or stuck. We're not alone in this, and so many other people are on similar paths as ourselves. I think the fifth way is slowly rebuilding somewhat of a social life. Sometimes that means joining people who never knew your spouse or your person before, and that can feel strange at first, but it also allows a new chapter to develop without constant comparisons. Yeah, and something else that's not always talked about because it's not always easy is sometimes we do need to be the first to reach out. I know it sounds unfair, especially when you're grieving. It shouldn't feel like one more thing you have to do, but many people are waiting for permission because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. A simple message like, hey, you want to grab coffee this week? Or how about getting together for a 10-minute walk? That can kind of restart a friendship that maybe, neither person wanted to lose. Doesn't always work. Some relationships will fade. Others might just be stalled because both sides are kind of waiting. But the bottom line is, you're not the only one. We are not alone in this. That feeling of being understood is often the first step towards healing. But don't expect one person or one group to meet every need that you have. A friend might be great for a walk, but uncomfortable talking about your spouse or your person. A grief group might understand your loss deeply, but not become close friends. A neighbor might help with practical things, which is great. Your kids give you purpose. Different people can meet different needs, and it's rarely one perfect community. Let me know what you think.